My name is Charlie Owen. I'm a program manager on the Windows eHome team. We are the proud makers of Windows XP Media Center Edition, as well as the proud makers of what will be Media Center in Windows Vista. I want to welcome you here to PDC. We're going to talk about some things today about developing for the 10-foot user interface. Our agenda is Windows XP Media Center Edition today. We're going to take you through a tour of that product, as well as that product running on the Xbox 360, which we have up here today. Also going to take a look at Media Center in the Windows Vista time frame. We have a slide that talks about some of the end user features there. We're also going to be talking about development models for Media Center in Windows Vista. So hang on, it's going to be a great hour, lots of great information, a lot of delving into the code for the Netflix application. How many people were at the Jim Austin keynote and saw Netflix? So I'm very proud to show off the developers' work. Andrew's here this morning as well, and he can probably answer some of those questions after the session. I want to talk a little bit about the Media Center vision. What is Media Center all about? What is it designed to do? What is its purpose in life? First of all, Media Center seeks to make digital media access easier, more convenient, and more enjoyable. We see here a lovely couple sitting on a couch with a remote control like I have in my hand, navigating their digital media, their pictures, their music, recorded TV, things like that. We'll make those things easier and more enjoyable. We want to have consumer electronics and PCs work better together. Here we have a young man sitting in his bedroom with a Media Center extender and a regular TV, enjoying that experience in his bedroom, as well as an older couple inside their kitchen listening to music while they're preparing for dinner on a regular TV as well. So we're hoping to make consumer electronics and PCs work better together. Finally, we want to deliver breakthrough experiences through connected devices and compelling services. Here we see a young lady with a portable media center enjoying some great recorded TV content that she has synchronized with that device. So these are the three big key scenarios that we are hoping to enable for the consumer. So let's break right into a demonstration of Media Center. First thing I want to show you is that I am running a development environment on this Media Center PC. The first thing you need to know about Media Center is it's a fully functioning Windows product. We have the start menu, we have all programs. You notice I've got Visual Studio 2005 Beta 2 installed here. I've got Microsoft Office installed here. I can run all of these great programs. It's first and foremost a great Windows PC. I can take my remote control, press the green button on the remote control, and Media Center starts up. We should have some sound here. Let's take you through some of the high-level features. We have My TV. We have the ability to schedule TV recordings. It's a full digital video recorder. It allows us to go into a guide and select shows to record individual shows or entire series. Full digital TV recording. We also have a DVD player on board. Obviously, it's progressive scan, as any PC is. Online Spotlight will come back into a few minutes. It's a way for end users to great apps and services that you guys create for Media Center. It's a way for them to have top-level feature parity in the product. My videos is a way that you can take your own videos or videos that you download from the web. So here I've got a couple of videos of trailers that are downloaded from the web. Or you can also take stuff off of your mini DV camcorder, create it in Windows Movie Maker, and then place it on the Media Center box to be able to enjoy it throughout the home. My Pictures has a great set of features for, let's say, don't ask me this again. Do you want to add pictures now? Yes or no? These are all pictures that you can browse with your remote control. I'm driving the entire experience with the remote control. You can browse digital pictures, take a look at those, upload those. We can even do some basic editing like rotation, red eye reduction, all with the remote control. We have the music feature, which allows us to go in and listen to albums that we've ripped or that we've purchased from a music provider service. And we want to say, no, we don't want to do that. Obviously, I don't have any music on this one. We'll have it on the Xbox here. We can mix and match these experiences. So for example, I can play music as well as watch a slideshow, and you can see that the transitions are very nice. They have some nice fadings in and out. I can also control the fades with the remote control to make it very fast or very slow. Tell a story about my vacation and how I'm a surfer dude. It's really cool that I'm actually able to do that. So anyway, these are kind of the top-level features. We also have ability to add third-party services, such as great applications that you guys write. So for example, Netflix, which I'll demo in a few minutes. We have Online Spotlight available. Online Spotlight is a web application that is written on top of the platform that we have available today. It's a way that you can go in and discover great new applications and services. I'm browsing these with remote control. We're going to launch up Reuters now. Reuters is a third-party extensibility application that's written specifically for Media Center. It's a lot of great, raw, unedited video for news. They have a great category for news, business, world. They also have this category called Oddly Enough, which is, you never know what's on there. It's really scary sometimes. But as you can see, I can drill down into these experiences and select them, kick off a great playing video. I can navigate these things. We're hitting a web server. This is a live feed. What was that? Top left. That one? Wow. Nice. Like I said, never know what you're going to find. But this is a great experience that allows us to browse this and kick off these videos. As you notice, I'm browsing these all with my remote control. Well, let's kick off the Xbox 360. The really neat thing, everybody's wanting to see that, huh? So we'll kick up the Xbox 360 here. Sorry for the loudness of this unit. It's a pre-beta unit. And as you can hear, the fans are on to make sure that that puppy keeps very cool. It is actually quieter, as you see. Let's stop the Reuters video, and let's switch over to D. You guys see that? It's black and white. Wasn't this morning. Let's try this again. Ready? And tech guys, I can't see this up on my monitor. So we'll just pretend this is in a wild, vivid color. Don't want to spend too much time with this. This is the Xbox 360, and I will try to drive this without seeing it up on my monitor. Wow. Impressive, huh? Did I mention this is pre-beta? You guys still have... Tech guys, do you have a signal on... D? Something. All right. Still black and white. Let's see if I can drive this. Let's see if it doesn't disappear on me again. So these are the blades, and you can see we have some nice transitions between these things. On the media blade, we have some built-in Xbox features, but we also have the ability to kick off Media Center. So I'll select Media Center. Media Center will start at searching out for the Media Center PC, the same one that I'm using for the demos, the code walkthroughs. Love it! Did I mention this is pre-beta? Somebody unplugged the Media Center here. Aha. This is embarrassing. All right, we're going to come back to that. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. I will get it up and running, hopefully before the end of the day. Here we go. So let's talk about the key user scenarios. Television and movies, music and radio, news and sports, photos and games. We also want to talk about long-tail content, on-demand, podcasting, and video blogging. What you're seeing are some screenshots of current experiences that are available for Media Center, such as ABC Family, National Public Radio, which allows you to hear on-demand any of their content, MSN Music, browsable remote control, can buy albums and tracks, AOL Music on Demand, which gives us broadcast quality videos on demand, Movie Link allows you to purchase movies and download them and watch them, and XM Radio, which allows you to surf all the XM radio content and listen to it as a streaming media server. If you're a developer working on any type of this product area, this is the main focus for Media Center. It's these types of scenarios, all the digital media, television, music and radio, news and sports. These types of things are what Media Center is targeting in the home as an audience. We're also powering the digital media home. It's Media Center PC as the hub. You have Media Centers extenders around the home, including the Xbox 360, portable Media Centers, and devices on the go. So really with the Media Center PC as the hub, we can really begin to take the great experiences and the great Media Center UI and pump it to other areas of the home and take it on the go. So a lot of people wonder, what is a 10-foot user interface? What exactly does that mean? Well, let's talk a little bit about, first of all, what are some of the other types of user experiences that we create? We have the 2-inch, which is Windows Mobile. It's a thumb toggle. How many people have smartphones? You're typically, yeah, great. You're typically about 1 inch or 2 inches away from the input of the device to the screen, about 2 inches. This is a 2-inch user interface. A 2-foot interface is Windows, as it's typical, the mouse, the keyboard, and the stylus. So you're using your Windows desktop, using your mouse and keyboard to drive that experience. You're about 2 feet away from the output device. Well, a 10-foot user interface is what Media Center typifies. You're driven with the remote control. You're about 10 feet away, as we see our lovely couple again enjoying that great experience. And as you hear that, that was the Xbox booting up. So let's take a look at that while it's up here. Let's see if I can see it. You see it? Okay, it's still in black and white. The one thing I want to point out to you, this is running on the Xbox, so I'm going to take my Xbox controller. Every Xbox 360 will also come with a remote control. Now I'm really scared to move. Okay, so we see the blades, and it's in color. Woohoo! All right, so we're navigating the blades. We can set things. We're going to drill down to Media Center, and we're going to hit the A button to launch it. It's finding the Media Center piece. Wait a minute. Hey! All right. Every Xbox 360, I'm trying not to move. Every Xbox 360 comes with a remote control. You notice its navigational is very similar to the Media Center PC. It also comes with the green button that allows you to launch the experience. Now, the exciting news about Xbox 360 is it comes with Media Center Extender built in. No need for a separate title. Every single Xbox 360 will have the ability to use Media Center. And you'll notice here, it has all the great smooth animations and transitions. There's no more GDI mode. It's exactly what you'll experience on the Media Center PC. Yes, I definitely think that's worth a round of applause. We'll select My TV, and the other nice thing about it is that it's also capable of doing high-definition playback. So here we have Star Wars Episode 2 recorded TV. Knock on wood, it should play. Let's see. High-definition playback on Xbox 360 through Media Center. So this is a show clip that has been recorded on the Media Center PC, and it's now being streamed over to the Xbox 360 for playback. Tremendous wins. You'll also notice that we also have the online spotlight feature as well in Xbox 360, which means all the great applications that you write for Media Center also extend to other rooms of the house via Media Center Extender and Xbox 360. So, yay, it finally worked. All right. Turn that off so we get the fans. Oh, let's go back to the PowerPoint. Yay to the tech guys for solving that problem, whatever it was. So, let's go back to and talk about now Media Center in Windows Vista. Really excited to announce it's going to have a cutting-edge, next-generation user experience inspired by broadcast TV and end-user feedback. I've been playing with early builds. It is tremendous. Some of the performance things, some of the great, if you've got large libraries, we're going to fix those issues for you and really make a tremendous, wonderful user experience for you out of the box. It's going to be available worldwide. By the end of this year, Media Center is going to be available in 33 countries. And by the time we get to Windows Vista, every single Windows Vista shipping locale will have the ability to have Media Center in it. So what does that mean? Today, if you ever create any type of application that runs on an interactive TV type platform, you've really had to work on a regional level with a cable TV provider for that set-top box. If you want to bring that experience into the living room or into other areas of the house, you've really been stuck with regional, like sub-regions of the United States, for example. With Media Center, you'll be able to write that application and it will run worldwide on TVs in the home. Tremendous win for developers to get these great digital media experiences throughout the home worldwide. There's going to be millions of Xbox 360s with Media Center Extender. I guarantee they will work better than the one did today. Promise that. And we're going to have radically better development and design models for third-party extensibility. We've heard the feedback that hosted HTML is, yes, you can clap for that, that hosted HTML is great, but it's not good enough for what we want to, the type of experiences that people want to bring. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to have in for you as developers to develop for Media Center. Number one, we're going to still have hosted HTML. The experiences that I showed you today, like Reuters and Online Spotlight, will continue to run. If you're making a bet on HTML and continuing with HTML, the Atlas experiences that we've seen here at PDC, you will still be able to do that in HTML and leverage all the great tools that allow you to do that. For basic extensibility experiences, it uses HTML and JavaScript. You can use the Media Center API through window.external in JScript. We leverage the IE browser and engine and security model. In addition, we have Media Center add-ins. Now, these are background, task-oriented notification features today. They're managed code assembly. You get access to the Media Center API through the Microsoft.Media Center namespace in managed code. And you have full trust local code. You can do all kinds of things on the local machine with that. So some of the examples of this is Norton. How many people run antivirus on their PC? Well, with Norton actually wrote a utility that runs inside of Media Center as a background add-in, that if your antivirus signatures run out of date, we pop up a really nice, great Media Center dialog that's navigable remote control that says, hey, your antivirus signatures are out of date, you might want to update them. So things like that are really accomplished through Media Center add-ins. I'm also happy to say that you can develop and ship these experiences today in Windows XP Media Center Edition. They fully remote over to the extenders that are in the home. And these two experiences will continue to work in the Windows Vista timeframe on Media Center. I'm also very happy, we saw this in the keynote for Jim Olshan. You will also now be able to use Windows Presentation Foundation to create experiences for Media Center audience. It's really new for developers. You can create advanced, immersive, engaging experiences. How many people saw the Netflix? How many people saw the North Face? How many people saw Max? How many people have seen the expression tools? All of those are created in Windows Presentation Foundation, formerly known as Avalon. We're going to actually host the web browser application model inside of Media Center, so you'll be able to use managed code and XAML to create all these wonderful experiences. All the animations, the 3D, all of those things you'll have at your beck and call in Media Center. I think that's a tremendous win for developers. I know at least James out there is really happy to see that. So you'll be able to get access to the Media Center API through managed code through the same namespace as Media Center add-ins. Now there's a couple of the great wins here. Number one, click once installs. Today, if you go to install a Media Center application, it takes a few mouse clicks. It goes back to the keyboard to get those experiences installed sometimes before you can actually use the remote control. With click once, you'll be able to go to a page, say, yep, I want the application. It installs, and it's immediately available. It's a great story for no longer having to go back to the mouse and keyboard. You'll be able to install that application and use it with the remote control. Second, it runs in a security-constrained sandbox, so it just makes it easier and safer for consumers to take care of their PCs and make sure that no malicious code gets on that box. It's a very lightweight path for maintenance and upgrade. For the click once installs and the web browser application, your application can call out and say, is there a new version of me? And if so, automatically download and install it each and every time the user uses that service. So there's no longer you have to manage DLLs and all that. It just works out of the box. You also have the great 2D and 3D drawing and imaging through the expression tools and the ability to export those into XAML and use those inside of managed code, and also the vector-based composition engine. Today, when you develop for Media Center with hosted HTML, you have to use bitmaps and things like that. And when you scale those up, if you reuse any components from your traditional mouse and keyboard applications, anytime you scale up those images, you get pixelated images, things like that. With Avalon, the Windows Presentation Foundation, you get the vector-based composition engine, which means you can scale those experiences up to be larger, bigger, and bolder and not lose any quality at all. So we're really tremendously excited about being able to give this to you guys, for you guys to use and develop great, engaging applications. I want to bubble up a little bit and talk about what does Windows Presentation Foundation give us, especially for Media Center. Number one, powerful visual and interactive capabilities. If you've not yet had a chance to try this in the hands-on lab or seen it in the track lounge, you should come over to the track lounge. If you see the guys with the orange shirts that say "Got Style" on, those are the Windows Presentation Foundation guys. You should talk to them, see the powerful visual and interactive capabilities you have with Windows Presentation Foundation. Second, you're going to have clean separation of UI and logic. How many designers do we happen to have in the room today? Do we have any designers in the room today? One, two. So those designers in the room, we're going to talk about the tremendous wins for you guys and the tremendous wins for developers that have always tried to make those wonderful, great UIs that designers create, and all we have to do work with is an animated GIF. So we're going to talk about how the clean separation of UI and logic helps us really make compelling experiences. And finally, third, great tools for developers and designers. The expression tools that you've seen, Visual Studio 2005, it's really coming together to be able to create rich user experiences for Media Center and Windows. So let's drill down a little bit and talk about what it means to have the Windows Presentation Foundation user experience development. First of all, you want to talk about the styling, the XAML. How many people have seen XAML in action? It's XML, right? And it's got powerful tools such as the expression. Designers can use these things to create rich, interactive user experiences. And they can continue to give, for example, for a designer, they can give the developer very early wireframes only with just squares for where buttons will be, for example. And the designer can continue to work on the user experience and handing off new builds of the XAML to the developer to integrate into the experience. The developer, meanwhile, can continue to work on the logic, the application code that talks about purchasing and managing the state and all that things of the UI and the user experience. The developer can focus on what he does best, which is code the application logic. These guys can collaborate, but in truly, just like this slide shows, they can work in parallel and can work somewhat or mostly independently of each other to deliver the experience. At the end point, you bring these together and the XAML and the managed code are combined to create the user experience. It's a very powerful way of developing software. No longer does the designer have to hand off their design for a coder, for a developer, to try to realize that design with dim button equal new button, or button B equals new button, right? And button B dot color equals this. The designer can create all those wonderful stylings, hand it off to the developer, and continue to work on that and radically change the UX and the UI without the developer ever having to touch another line of code for that UI. It's a tremendous win. It's also a win for us in Media Center world because we can really take the application logic and reuse it much easier today. If you want to create a rich, immersive 2-foot application with a mouse and keyboard, you're going to use something like Windows Presentation Foundation or Win32 or WinForms, those types of things. And then when you go to create that experience in HTML, what do you have to do? You have to use a new language, a new model, HTML markup, dumb down the interface, and all that. Well, here with Windows Presentation Foundation, we can take that great application logic that the developers have created, take the styling that the designers have created, add them together, and what do we get? We get a desktop experience. Now, to go and create our Media Center experience, we don't have to touch the application logic. It's already there. It's all great. All we do is take another XAML file, add it to the already existing logic experience, and now we have tremendous wins. Now we have a Media Center experience. We've created a whole new experience, but we've only had to touch the designer section of that code base. We haven't had to go back and change the application logic, which is a tremendous win to bring a targeted user interface. Same application logic, different stylings equals a new application. Tremendous wins in productivity there. So we took a look. I showed you some screenshots. Let me show you a little bit of what we're talking about. Here's a application that Robert Ingebretson, if you've been to his talk, has designed. It's called Photo Frog. It's a way. Here, this is the 2-foot version. So I'm going to be using the mouse and keyboard, for example. And here I'm going to click on the 4x6, the 5x7, 8x10, my choices. I'm going to tell it that I want a t-shirt or a coffee mug. I've got some images importing, and I can delete those. I can come over here and see that I've got 6 ready to upload. I can kick off a slideshow or an upload. This is really designed for mouse and keyboard. It's very small. Things are pretty tight in here. And it's designed for mouse and keyboard. So the application logic stayed the same, but we put a different style on it. So here's that same application that's designed for remote control. The items are navigable with remote control. Things are a subset of features. So this is choose the pictures you'd like to print. The user can go in and select the pictures using the remote control and the OK button and left, right, up, and down navigation. We haven't changed a bit of the application logic. When I go choose the pictures to print and I go to the next screen to print those pictures, it's the same application logic to print those pictures. Tremendous wins to be able to take existing applications and port them to Media Center. So let's take a look at this in action with the Netflix application. All right. So here we have Media Center running. We're going to go to More Programs. We're going to select Netflix. And this was the keynote demo. So today, because it's a very early build of Windows Vista and Media Center, we're actually shelling out and running the Netflix app outside of Media Center. I want to clarify that during the Media Center timeframe when Windows Vista ships and for developers earlier on, you'll actually be able to host these experiences in Media Center and use the Media Center objects and namespace. But here we have an experience that's navigable with the remote control, and I'm going back and forth. Notice one of the UI stylings here is that we have a center locking position. So we have the red, and that even when I go to left and right, it always kind of brings it back to the center, so it keeps the user's focus. They typically don't have a mouse to really help navigate where they're going, but you also notice that the mouse continues to work just fine. When I come over here, it'll scroll automatically, just like it will in the 2-foot application. But I can switch between the mouse and the remote control easily and efficiently. So here I can go over to recommended, top 100. I can select an item, and then I can go preview it. And here we have an animation in. The video comes in, and we brought them all together. So it's just an example of how we took a 2-foot application and ported it to Media Center using all the same application logic, all the same code that allows us to kick off video experiences and that, and just put a new style on it. Stuff, huh? So let's take a little bit and drill down into some application logic and talk about, there's 3 things that we're going to talk about here: application logic, behaviors, and the stylings. We're going to take a little bit, open up Visual Studio, take a little code peek behind the scenes here. So application logic for this application, it's standard web service calls in managed code. It's agnostic about the design of the UI. It has no concept of what that UI does as far as the application logic is concerned. So for example, we see here private void onloaded. We go out and we log into the web service. So Get Factory is a stub for the Netflix DLLs that allows us to call into their web service and log in. We build the details panel. In other words, we go out and say, here's the items for the details panel, and here's the items for the products. And those are all the style, and all that is determined by the XAML. So all we're doing here is really going out and logging into Netflix and getting the stuff for the UI. So let's go back and take a look at this code. So here's our application code. When we're loading up the application, we do some timer things here to manage the state. And then we're going to log on, and there's, ooh, I left passwords in there. Let's leave. There you go. Nobody saw that, right? Nobody saw that, right? So we're going to build the details panel, and we can go out and see what that definition looks like. And you notice here, it's basically doing anything. It's managing some click events and some events here. But you notice there's nothing in here. We're not creating a button. We're not creating any UI here in Manage Code. We're leaving that all up to the XAML. So it's really super simple to create application logic, but not have to describe the UI in C# code. We let the designer take care of that. So we can see that it's really cool to be able to do that and keep our application logic and keep it clean and not have to worry about stylings and design. So we took a closer look. Let's talk about behaviors. Now, the behaviors here are kind of interesting because we actually do want some different behaviors between the 2-foot and the 10-foot. The 2-foot, when you've got mouse and keyboard, you don't really need to have, only 4 product shots, right? You've got plenty of room, you've got plenty of real estate here. Somebody's right here next to the monitor. You can really drill down and have lots of different product shots in there. So we have a slightly different behavior for 10-foot. We need to blow it up. We need to make it bigger, bolder. We need to manage state a little bit better for the user so their eye can know where they are. They don't have that mouse to really cue in to where they are in the interface. So with the behaviors here, we have the mouse navigation, which really is not appropriate for 10-foot when we have lots of product shots and we're relying on where that mouse cursor is to manage where my focus is on the page. So the solution here is implement a better behavior for 10-foot. And we see this here in the application mode. When Netflix launches up, we tell it, are you in 2-foot or you're in 10-foot? And you'll be able to do this in Media Center. You're able to determine if you're on a Media Center PC and if the application is hosted in there and switch on different stylings. And so here we turn off the ability to register hold position. So if you remember, if we take a look at, let's take a closer look. And if we look at the Netflix application, you'll notice the center locking position. Every time I used the mouse and keyboard, oh, there we go. Tried to launch the XML configuration file. You notice when I move left and right, that moves, but then it animates back over to the center, so I can always have my eye kind of in the center of the experience. So we turn that off for the 2-foot. It doesn't do that. When I'm mousing over things, it doesn't automatically snap to the middle. It follows my mouse cursor. So let's take a look at that in code. And that is in application window.cs. So in that same onloaded event, we basically turn on those animations or turn them off. So we can take a look at those animations here in the XAML. Here we have a category button, and you'll notice that we've applied a 10 style here for 10-foot. And we do a lot of neat things where we come in here and we tell it to scale the transform, make it bigger, better, bolder. We apply some triggers so that when things animate, they will animate in a certain way. And we apply this style differently than the one that is above it. You'll notice that the animation is not even there in this particular style. So tremendous wins for being able to do user experiences and add them on with the great tool set. So we can turn on features on and off and point to different locations of the XAML to create these experiences. Finally, we want to talk about how we can style these experiences separately. Now, what I'm going to show you is a very simple example here. We have here a style queue title. This is from the Netflix source code. The foreground has a value that's pretty light. It's bright white. It's Gotham light. It has a 12-point style. It's a 12-point, 12 pixels high. This is for 2-foot. Everything's smaller, more condensed, put in. We can navigate with the mouse and keyboard. By contrast, the 10-foot styling, we've taken the color, for example, the foreground value. We have put a television safe color here. Instead of being 255, 255, 255 red, green, blue values, we've taken that and muted it down so that these values are only 240. If you put it bright white on a television, you get buzz in the audio sometimes, you get flicker, it makes you headaches. So what we do is we apply a television safe color in that styling. We also give it a bolder typeface because when it's on a television, sometimes it's harder to read the thinner serifs. So we add a bolder typeface. We also bring in a larger typeface. for this. So instead of 12 point, we're using 22 point. So we're taking those stylings and applying those in the XAML to the experience to build out that great experience that's specifically designed for Media Center. This is a super simple example. The source code that the Windows Presentation Foundation team has available today in the community technology previews gives you more rich examples of this where we make things bigger, better, bolder. I think we have some tremendous wins for developers here. First of all, you can start quickly out of the box. We will have Media Center specific Windows Presentation Foundation project templates built in for Visual Studio. So when you start up Visual Studio, you'll be able to say, I want to create a Media Center experience, and it has a base set of templates, XAML files, C# files that allow you to instantly start creating Media Center experiences. We also have Media Center specific controls. We're going to take the controls that are built in for XAML for Windows Presentation Foundation and style them in a way that's appropriate for 10-foot. So when you want to create buttons or other resources or stack panels, there'll be some styles built in there for you to immediately create. If you've ever used our current SDK, you notice that our stylings are very rudimentary. We're going to have very rich stylings for you in Windows Presentation Foundation for Media Center in Vista, Windows Vista. You'll actually be able to leverage the Media Center 10-foot shell and object model. It's designed from the ground up for digital media experiences. There's multiple entry points for partners. So you notice the online spotlight, if you remember that. We can actually, we actually have other places so that when you select an album, you can go do a search on MSN Music or Napster for that album and return a result set. So we have about 14 places for partners to integrate with music, with pictures, with television, and can launch your experiences. And the nice thing is you get to make your spouse happy. How many of us have spouses in the room? The babysitter is another happy camper in the Media Center world, because when they used to come to my house, they had 14 remotes. You know, turn on the television, turn on the TV, turn on the HD TV receiver, turn on the amplifier, use this remote for that, use this remote for that, right? With this, we have one remote control that controls it all, including the experiences that you built. So you get the single remote, make your spouse happy, make yourself happy. Third, we can enjoy that experience with Media Center extenders in other rooms of the home. The applications that you create in either hosted HTML, the add-in model, or Windows Presentation Foundation will run on the Xbox 360, will run on the other Media Center extenders in the home. So you're able to distribute that. You're no longer located in one room of the house with the one PC. You're located in every room of that house that has a Media Center extender. It's very little effort. We outline all that stuff that you need to do in the SDK so you can know about it. It's only about 5 or 6 general rules that you need to apply to make sure that you're working well with Media Center Extender. So if you've heard nothing else that I've said today, these are the things I want you to take out of this room. Number one, Media Center is a key user experience in Windows. You will see Windows Vista in Media Center will be a top-notch user experience. The Media Center ecosystem is the most elegant way to deliver digital media content to any place in the home. Again, I can't stress enough that applications that you write for Media Center will remote with full fidelity over to the Xbox 360. Third, you can leverage the Windows Presentation Foundation to develop great user experiences for Media Center in Windows Vista. You can develop 2-foot mouse and keyboard, stylus, 2-inch applications that we've seen with WPF-E, and 10-foot, the remote controlled experiences. In parallel, you can create those stylings for each of those. The developer can focus on the application logic. The designer can focus on the stylings for the applications for the different experiences, 2-foot, 10-foot, and 2-inch. You can develop those in parallel. You can separate the user interface from the logic allowing designers to design. For the 2 designers in the room, you guys will be able to create the most wonderful UIs and user experiences in the world and don't have to rely on the developers. And developers, we don't have to be trying to figure out how to make those great experiences with animated GIFs anymore. We can do some really great code work behind the scenes there. And we're going to have a broad set of tools available. Visual Studio 2005 is what you'll be able to use, along with other tools to create Media Center experiences, as well as the Expression Designer tool set that allows you to drag and drop and animate and rotate and export all that great XAML without having to hand code it. So what I want you to do with this information when you walk out of the room. Number one, download the current Media Center Software Development Kit. It's available up on the web. We just recently redesigned this page to make it easier for you to drill down on the information that you need to create experiences. It's up on msdn.microsoft.com/MCE. Second, you need to get the WinFX Software Development Kit. How many people have picked up their bits for PDC? It's like 9 CDs, 30 gigabytes. Disk 3 holds the WinFX Software Development Kit. You should install that and start coding up applications. We want you to start designing your user experience for Windows Vista for both 2-foot and 10-foot in Windows Presentation Foundation. Now, you can't create Media Center applications today for Windows Vista. That will be coming in a post-Beta 2 timeframe that you'll actually be able to use those within Media Center and the application programming interfaces in Media Center. But you can create those experiences today with Windows Presentation Foundation. Start experimenting with your user experience and the logic for your application, and then very quickly move them over to the web browser application and start leveraging the Media Center APIs once you have access to those builds. And finally, the Windows Presentation Foundation developer features for Windows Media Center for Windows Vista will be in a post-Beta 2 builds. Don't know exactly when, but hopefully very soon after Beta 2. Here's some resources for you. Number one, again, the software development kit on MSDN. Very important. A lot of great user experience design guidance there. You also should check out Windows Vista on MSDN at msdn.microsoft.com/Windows Vista. It's a really great resource. The WinFX Software Development Kit, which is available on MSDN as well, is a great resource to get started with Windows Presentation Foundation and Windows Communication Foundation to start coding up these experiences. We've also got some technical blogs, my own at retrosite.com, as well as a software design engineer for test, Michael Creasy, who does some fantastic work and gives you some insight into the behind the scenes of how to create these applications. For those of you that I know are going to ask the question of, well, how do I get Media Center, right? How do I get it? I'm tired of always hearing the answer of you have to buy an OEM PC. Well, we changed that this year. The best way to get Media Center is to buy an OEM PC. It's the quickest, most relevant way. You can go down to Best Buy today, buy a Media Center PC, and be up and running in no time flat. So first of all, you should think about buying an OEM Media Center PC. Second, it is available through a system builder channel, and there's about 7,000 system builders worldwide, all of which can sell Media Center. So you usually have to buy a hardware component along with that. You just need to do an MSN search or Google search to find those system builders. It's also, how many people have MSDN subscriptions? Great. If you have an MSDN subscription, operating systems or better, you have Media Center already for you to start developing today. So get it off of there. Would also like to say, Andrew, if you can hand me that thing, we have these set out on the chairs. Pick one of these up. This describes our new Windows Marketplace ability for you to take applications that you've written for Media Center, upload them, and make them available to millions of Media Center users via the web. We can always work with you to get partners into Online Spotlight if you're ready for that. But if you're ready to put your experience up for Media Center, use this. It's Windows Marketplace. You can upload your applications and get them out there for people to use. We also have a special offer for attendees. You should have had one on your seat. If not, we've got these available for you. Vision Tech has put together a great package of a TV tuner and a remote control, such as the one I've been using, in a very convenient package. It has Design for Media Center logo hardware in it. It's an ATI Theater 550 Pro TV tuner, which is a very nice, high-quality TV tuner. It has the SMK Media Center remote and an IR receiver. Special price just for you guys, $99 gives you all of that. So $99 plus tax and shipping. You can order it via email by sending an email to sales@visiontech.com with the subject line MCE offer. That's a tremendous win for developers to be able to start designing those experiences. It's valid through November 14th, so order yours before then. So thank you for your time. We've got plenty of time for some questions. If you wouldn't mind stepping up to the mic, and I'll answer them round robin this way. And thank you very much. And to just caveat it, I'm here to talk about the developer features for Media Center. All the great Media Center end user features I can't really talk a whole lot about. So just to let you know. Go ahead.
Actually, this is kind of an end user question, but
Okay.
you did touch on it. I just wanted to clarify something.
Yes.
In order to take advantage of the full fidelity of remoting content from Media Center to an Xbox, for example, can you do that wirelessly, or do you have to have your Media Center extender wired?
Great. So the question is, to get these great remoted experiences that I designed to my Xbox 360 or the Xbox with the Media Center extender, do I have to have a wired or wireless connection? We actually work with either, but from a detail standpoint, the best wireless connection to use with that Media Center extender is 802.11a. That's the best user experience. It really doesn't work on 802.11b. It just doesn't have enough bandwidth to put out, really high bandwidth video files or things. So 802.11a. But yes, it will work wirelessly.
Including HDTV?
HDTV does present, again, if you use 802.11a and you don't have any other interference, it should work fine. If you could step up to the microphone, I'd be glad to answer those questions. Go ahead.
I had a question about the dependency on the MPEG-2 decoder
that
Windows Media Center has always had. Is that going away in Vista? In other words, will Vista be able to play DVDs out of the box or not?
That's a great question. That has a lot to do with licensing of MPEG-2 decoders. Don't necessarily want to get into that today. I'll be glad to take it offline with you. I don't know specifically any of the details about MPEG-2 decoders for that, but we've heard that feedback. We're working on it, trying to come up with a great solution for end users so that it does work out of the box.
Okay, because it's just it's a big problem for a lot of users. They get a decoder they can't use, so that's just undetermined at this point.
But I will say that for most end user consumers that buy these as OEM systems, it works out of the box for them. They don't have to go and install a separate thing. The MPEG-2 decoder is included from the OEM.
Okay, but that's being considered for Vista at least.
We're looking at all options to be able to make it better for all end user consumers in that space.
Thank you.
How compatible are the add-ins that you program for your Media Center on the Xbox 360?
So if you create experiences for Media Center, they should fully remote to the Xbox 360 with no problem.
Okay. And
it's designed to do that as far as running inside of Media Center Extender, the experience that you launch from the Xbox 360.
And does DRM work through the Xbox 360?
Absolutely. Okay. We do have, for the DRM features, we do have, now the content owners can determine what that is, but most of them allow that. This is just another play count. So it doesn't look at the Xbox 360 or the Media Center Extender as a separate device. It's playing off the Media Center PC, and it's tied very closely. But our DRM story is very tight. Any DRM that you apply, that you would apply to Windows Desktop or Windows Media Center on the PC, fully works with the extender experiences.
I'm assuming you're running Emerald on the version that you're working with Xbox 360?
I am running Windows XP Media Center Edition 2005 for all these demos.
Okay, I'm assuming that's the Emerald update.
Not talking about any kind of updates today, but it's the current version that you could go out to the stores and buy.
It's got the interface that's doing the animations and stuff on Xbox 360. Would I be able to write Windows forms or DirectX applications using the Emerald update to do animations on Xbox 360?
You will be able to use Windows Presentation Foundation to create those animations.
This was Windows Forms question. I'm sorry.
Windows Forms,
and
no.
Also DirectX.
DirectX, you would not use DirectX. Those experiences would not remote over to the Xbox 360.
Okay.
You could use Windows Presentation Foundation in Media Center that those experiences would remote.
One more question is
Sure.
There's a Media State API that's not really supported right now. It's not signed. Is that going to be signed and supported anytime soon?
The Media State Aggregation Service?
Yes. Well, yeah. So I can use that from an external application to get the state at the Media Center.
So you can use it from an external application today. It should available. All of our OEMs use it to create.
It's not signed, so I can't use it from an add-in because the add-in has to be signed, and a signed assembly can't call an unsigned assembly.
You should be able to create a Media State Aggregation Service sync in managed code that calls into the MSAS service and gets those events as they happen. I've seen it done. I don't specifically know how to do it, but I'll be glad to take that offline with you and put you in touch with the developers that
Thanks.
do. Okay? So send me an email. Don't forget. Yes?
Can you remote one media center to another media center?
Okay, the question is, can you remote one media center to another media center? The question is yes. You can create experiences if you have two Media Center PCs in the home. You can share content between the two, and use the content between the
If
two.
only one of them is connected to live TV, can I watch it? Can I watch it on the other?
Question is, can you watch live TV from a media center that doesn't have a TV tuner? You can start recording a TV show and then go to the non-tuner media center PC and kick off that recorded TV show. So while it's still streaming and buffering to the hard disk, you can begin playback of that. But it's not necessarily an easy thing to do that it's built into the interface. Although we are doing some great work with Windows Media Connect to automatically, so when you plug these devices into your home, the content just shows up everywhere in your home. So you should be able to see
on the
those.
360, like in a media center extender, I can watch live TV.
Absolutely, yes.
So
Yes.
isn't a media center computer at least a media center extender?
We've heard of the feature request to have the Media Center Extender technology brought to any other Windows PC, and we're looking at that and seeing the viability of that in the marketplace. But today, the experience is Windows XP Media Center Edition with extenders, but you can also play back recorded TV on other PCs in the home,
No.
not necessarily through the PC.
One
Media
more
Center PC.
question: can you remote Win32 application, like GDI application, on a media center?
Today, the
extender?
remoting story is anything that you can write as a part of our SDK for Media Center remotes to the Media Center Extender devices. So you
But
would
if-
not be able to create your own GDI executable application and launch it on the extender device. You could create that on the Media Center PC itself and launch it from the Media Center interface like we did with the Netflix, where you can minimize Media Center, start up your executable. But that experience would not remote to an extender or
can
the
you
Xbox
elaborate?
360.
Okay, I'll ask the expert how you do, how's the remoting is done.
I'll be glad to talk to that today offline.
In the Netflix example, the switch from 2-foot to 10-foot was very subtle, the changes, font size. If your application is going to have a radical UI change difference between 10-foot and 2-foot, can you, I don't think you'd want to have all that in one XAML file, or we get it.
So for the Netflix sample code, Andrew did a great job. How long did you have to do the Netflix sample? So to say it, they did a tremendous Herculean effort to bring about something from nothing in a programming language in XAML that Andrew had never seen before in his life to create the Netflix. So some of the sample code in there is probably not best practice, but you could put it all in one XAML file and switch that in code. It's good code. It's good code. I'm just saying that, it's 4-week-old code, right?
We move fast, 4 weeks.
So what you would do is, typically what we recommend is you would put these in 2 separate XAML files and call up the XAML as a resource and when you switch the application between 2-foot and 10-foot.
So when
We
it's
happen to do it in one XAML file and switching it in code.
Okay, so that was really what my question went to, was that the application could, at runtime, switch its face from a 2-foot to a 10-foot.
Absolutely. So it's really this simple. You have the application logic. You can have a stylings that has totally radically different user interface. You can pull out that XAML file, put it in a different XAML file, have a totally different radical interface.
All on the fly while the application's running. Very
Yep.
good. Okay.
Yep.
Verifying it really allows you to completely redefine the application, where objects are actually used on what screen, without the programmer having to get involved in that process. I had people actually designing the forms for 10-foot, where as a programmer, I didn't even know they were using that data at different points.
Right.
By using that line in that respect, you save yourself an awful lot of
Yeah.
problems.
It's very much plug and play.
So if you've got it already set up where the application, you've got 2 UI designs, 2 XAMLs, and you can run in both, and you can just switch on the fly back and forth.
Absolutely.
Very good. Thank you.
If you wanted to control what could be seen based on the user, for instance, if you had a remote box that was set up in a child's room,
Right.
and you want to say, well, I don't want them to see anything I record, is there a way to plug into that to give that sort of granularity where I could say, this is the kid stuff, this is the adult stuff, this is my teenager?
Absolutely. So the question is, can we control the user experience from a parental control standpoint, basically? Media Center has parental controls built into it, so for recorded TV and that type of content, you can set a pin and say that this is the maximum type of content based on rating that it level up. We also expose that through an API so that third parties can also invoke the parental control features and have Media Center prompt for the pin at the appropriate time before content playback starts. Right now, the Media Center parental controls are designed for Media Center. I don't think we've actually settled on how parental controls work in Windows Vista timeframe, because Windows Vista has created a whole set of parental controls of the parent. Yeah, you'd want to. Yes. Yes. So you have, as a developer, full access to our parental control APIs that allow you to do those things. Good, great question. Yes.
I have some timing questions. When can we expect to see the Media Center templates in the Visual Studio?
Okay, great question. The question is, when can we see the Visual Studio template files for Windows Media Center? That will be in a post-Beta 2 time frame. They will not actually ship as a part of Visual Studio. They will ship as part of our SDK. That will be, when you install the SDK, you get the additional Visual Studio templates.
Post-Beta 2?
Post-Beta 2 of Windows Vista.
And do you guys think that they'll give us enough time to get ready for market?
I think so. I think so. Don't know exactly when Windows Vista Beta 2, but I know it's before we ship it.
And it takes, you said,
is that
4
good enough?
to get ready, right? Yeah. Cool.
Good deal. Yes.
Will MCE in Vista support a special info cards experience?
Gosh, that's a great question. I don't know. I haven't seen those features yet.
I think it'd be really nice if it did.
I agree. So why don't you send me an email to remind me of our question answer here, and we'll see if we can. We'll see what we can do. Love to hear the developer feedback.
Next question. There will be an upgrade for consumers to Vista. Will there be a consumer upgrade for MCE users?
Don't know. Don't know. I'm focused on the developer features of Media Center. I have no idea what the upgrade story is going to be.
All right, thanks.
Sure.
Are there going to be enhancements either before the Vista version or with it to the HD support for different HD sources?
Yes.
Which?
Yes.
Both?
Yes is the only answer I have. I'm sorry. I wish I could just gush, all the great stuff that's coming. It's really great stuff, but can't talk about that. Wonderful to talk about the developer features, but end-user features can't really talk about.
I'm back. Is there a way to apply MCE on top of an existing XP installation, so we don't have to recreate a development box? So if we have like development lab machines.
The question is, can I take an existing XP Home or XP Pro version of Windows and upgrade it to Media Center? And the answer is no. You would have to do a clean install, but you can do a clean install and create a dual boot so that you can keep the two experiences separate.
Virtual PC is going to work with all the drivers and all that stuff?
Great. So the question is, does Windows XP Media Center Edition work with Virtual PC? The answer is yes and no. Yes, you can install it in a Virtual PC. No, you don't have access to any TV tuner. No, you don't have access to any of the DirectX goodness because the drivers, the VPC drivers don't support the DirectX goodness that we have. So you can do some limited testing. It's not a one-to-one experience. You'll have limited success with doing that. But it's possible, but it's not the full experience. Especially if you were going to create an experience that, for example, used click to record to schedule TV recordings, you couldn't do that because there's no TV tuner. Yes?
So if you want to provide user experience in different cultures, like localized versions, do you recommend providing different XAML files? Or?
So that would really be as a separate resource. You would have a XAML file that determines your look and feel. So for example, you'd have a button. Now what that button would say would probably be a separate file. Dan Brown was in the Track Lounge earlier this week. Dan Brown, if you go down and talk with any of the Windows Presentation Foundation guys, they can talk, put you in touch with Dan, and he can probably give you the details about how to globalize and localize that experience.
Hi, you mentioned that you will have an API to be able to tell whether or not you're running with a 10-foot or a 2-foot experience. Will Microsoft add any APIs giving more information about the type of display that the user is looking at versus, for example, if they're running with VGA or DVI or composite or component, or where the display characteristics are going to be a little bit different? Will there be standard APIs where a developer can know, I need to handle this case a little bit differently than another
Great
case?
question. The question is, are we going to expose any APIs that allows the developer to determine if I'm running on an S-video connection or a DVI or a VGA? The answer is no. And here's why. Okay? Today, those experiences, any type of interactive TV application that you create, because that set-top box is unique, you have to really code down to the nth level, worrying about action safe and title safe and all those things. And we think that's bad programming to be able to address those things. For example, if you see the Netflix application, if I launch Netflix up in a widescreen aspect ratio, the box titles just automatically flow into that space. So we think you should create the experience and know that you don't know exactly what it is, because you can't really account for all of those variables today, right? 1024, 768, 1280 by 1024, 1280 by 720. I mean, there's just so many different resolutions. So we're creating a framework that allows you to create the experience and bind them to the edges of the screen, and the content just flows and fills that. With that said, we do have features, end-user features in Media Center that allows them to, as a part of the out-of-box experience, to select the type of display that they're on, VGA, or we couch it in very consumer-friendly terms, like we say, are you on a computer monitor or a TV? If they select TV, then we account for the action-safe areas and bring the UI in so that we don't have any things like the Windows Start button is inside the action-safe area, so that we can bring that in and just make those experiences work. The SDK provides guidance for how you as a developer or a designer can design the experiences so that you don't have to worry about what type of resolution that end user is on. So my great example is if I start up the MSN homepage on my 1920 by 1200 Dell widescreen monitor, I've got this great area blue over here, and I got this great area blue over here. I've got this little tiny web page in the center, right? That's because they're designing for lowest common denominator. Windows Presentation Foundation allows us to say, I don't care about what screen real estate, I've got content, and I will allow the application to style it in such a way that it fills the available space. Does that answer your question? We're not going to expose the APIs, but we don't think it's really important. We want to provide a foundation that allows you to create.
So just kind of the gist of it is, if I use the Windows Presentation Foundations, I will get a lot of this for free because the framework will take care of it.
Absolutely. So for example, in Netflix, we created that details panel, and for 2-foot, we said the items that fit in there are this size, and they float in at 2 rows, and when you switch it to a portrait mode on the tablet, you get 3 rows. It just automatically, you get that for free. You don't have to do anything special to get that type of functionality. Yes?
Is there a way to work with a video stream that's coming in through broadcast TV or whatever to overlay that to provide value-add type services that could relate to the content? And
Absolutely.
Synchronization around when it starts and when it ends? And
the synchronization still issues, but absolutely you'll be able to do alpha blended overlays on top of full screen video.
Even if you don't own the content. I mean,
Correct.
if somebody's watching a baseball game and you have a site service that you want to provide them with stats and other things.
Yep, be able to do that.
I don't know if I've been asleep or anything, but is there a talk about the web browser application extensive?
Gosh, there's a lot of talks about that. I don't know the specific details, maybe some of the guys from the Windows Presentation Foundation team can sync up with you and give you a lot of the details on that. Any other questions? All right. What time do we out of here? Thanks. We got a few more minutes. We're done? Okay.